Okay, it's Duke 3D user map time, and this time we're not playing any user maps, but we'll be looking at a map that I've been working on for the last few weeks, and this map is heavily inspired by none other than Hollywood Holocaust, and this map is not really a remake, or I would say that it's more or less about kind of like reimagining Hollywood Holocaust, if you will. So um, we will be going through this some of the areas at least, and I'll be showing some stuff that I've been up to and stuff. So well, as you can probably tell, it is taking a lot of influence from the opener of Duke Nukem 3D, Episode 1, Level 1, Hollywood Holocaust. We got the movie theater, and then we got some Duke match starts here, but the Duke match starting places and items have not really been, fully added in. And I probably need to put a little bit more thought into that before the release. But this map is not too far from being released. It's actually being sent to certain people already that will evaluate the map and review it before the release. And obviously, there's probably going to be some playtesting still involved here, so there will be some stuff that will probably need to be changed before the release, and I'm still waiting some, external input from those people. So, but in the meanwhile, I guess we could take a look at the streets a little bit. And the amount of palm trees is slightly inspired by Duke Nukem 64, because Duke Nukem 64 had more of these palm trees versus the PC version, because the PC version had only like a single palm tree from what I remember. So, and then we got this, dumpster fire in there. Although I guess the dumpster fire these days probably means a whole lot different things than it probably did back in 1996. But let's go through these doors, please. And here we have some assault troopers, destructible environments, and some dark lighting and stuff. So. But on the other hand, I'm not entirely sure if I want to show this area in more greater detail, because there might be some things that might give away certain secrets, and if you were paying attention, you might have already seen some secrets or some potential secrets already. But yeah, here we have the bathroom and the mirror looks a little bit funny inside the editor, but as long as you do it properly and make sure that there's a space behind it, it should be all good. So, and then we have this iconic, shotgun room, and lots of very familiar-looking scenery can be found from this area. But I decided to divide the map in kind of like two halves, and because obviously you start from here, you can see that arrow in there, which is indicating the starting position of player one in all game modes. And then we got some multiplayer starts here, co-op starts. But as it was with the Duke match related things, some multiplayer items probably need to be added before the release and stuff. So, but yeah, I decided to kind of like divide the map in two halves, so you can take this area first, or you can take this area first. It really depends, but both routes should have enough ammo and all that to kind of, cover your expenses, if you will, because obviously this map, this side of the map has way more stuff in it at least in the monsters department, versus this side. But both sides, the kind of western half and the eastern half, that have both a pretty decent amount of weaponry available. So at least for given the nature of this map. And let me just show you something through here. And not sure if you can. I think this is good. I think you should be now able to see. You should now be able to see all of the assets that I've been using. And as you can probably tell, and I'm probably a trained eye can probably tell that I've been only using E1L1 slash version 1.3D assets for most of the part. There are like few exceptions, like tiny exceptions here, but for most of the part, it's been fun to kind of like use the E1L1 assets and stuff. So it's been interesting to work under such restrictions. I didn't take that much restrictions into account when it comes to the actual sector usage and other limitations. Like, as you can probably tell, that this map, when you look at the, lower left corner of the screen, you can see the amount of sectors here. 367 out of 1,034. 1,024 sectors. There's the wall limit, and then there's the sprite limit. But these limits aren't like absolute, because if I were to say exceed the sector limit, it goes up. It goes up to I think it goes to 4,096. I think that's the absolute sector limit, I believe, with Mapster these days. But I have never done that complex levels myself. But I've seen and played various maps that have kind of like pushed the limits really hard. So this map is not one of them. So it's gonna be these limits that you see here are the so-called vanilla limits. So in theory, this map should work with the DOS executable and stuff. So, but I think for a reference, I think the original Hollywood Holocaust, it had something like 320 or so sectors, give or take, and it has something like 600 sprites or so. So this map is pretty close to E1L1 when you look at the limitations too. And stuff. So, but perhaps we could take a look at some of these areas. Oh yeah, and then there's the theater, but it's a little bit different this time around. And here we have some fancy swing doors, some slopes and stuff, and we have a guardian here that's guarding the entrance to the projector room. So, and then we got some earthquake effects here. These are actually quite interesting to do, because as you can probably tell, there is a small little sector in here. Actually, it's so small that you actually have to draw it by hand, which is kind of tricky, because you have to start drawing from here, and then you have to make sure that it's not splitting or it's not conflicting with all of the other stuff. So there were a lot of these small little things that I learned while making this map. And while probably a couple of years ago I had my opinion of Mapster, and I said that this is not the kind of tool that I want to use, but fortunately my opinion has been shifting more towards the other side, which means that I have personally enjoyed using Mapster now, and I've also learned a whole lot about about the different kind of processes that you need to go through when you're creating a level for Duke Nukem 3D, because for those obviously who follow this channel know that I'm designing most of the levels for Doom these days, and when you're designing a level for Duke Nukem 3D, it's not like that you can just, because in Doom you can just literally like um, give or take, you can just literally remove like 95% of the level that you have created without any consequences and stuff like that. And then you can kind of like quickly revert the changes. But in Duke 3D, it's not really that easy. And this area is a good example of how you have to prioritize your design. You have to design all of this right here that you see. You have to design it in a very specific order for it to work out properly. And so we could go through these stairs and, okay, well, it's a staircase, all right? Nothing fancy, right? Come on, it's just nothing more than a staircase. But there's a whole lot more going on here than meets the eye. Because this is called sector over sector. And you can just look at this mess right here, and you can just think that, okay, what the hell is this? And what does it even look like? And of course, while you're making it, it's important to keep an eye on these things or the actual process the whole time. So, for example, what I did was that I started drawing these first, and then I kind of, drew the staircase. I think I drew it all the way over here, and then I, to be honest, don't exactly remember how it went, but this area right here, actually we need to use the 2D mode to enter here, and this is, or the creation process of this room is kind of tricky because you have to kind of like drag a lot of these lines around just so that you can make these rooms happen. Because, and of course, then you have to constantly keep an eye on these height values and things like that. So what you can do always is that you should always look at the Z values of different floors and ceilings just so that they don't overlap each other. So this is kind of like one of those fake 3D things in a way, if you will, by build engine standards. And that's always, the sector over sector is always the most fun to do with the build engine games, and I've always loved it. And this was always fun to do. And speaking of sector over sector, this area was supposed to be sector over sector too, but I didn't really feel too comfortable doing it yet. So I thought that it's just better to be like a standard curved little staircase and stuff. But yeah, let's return back here. So basically, to draw this kind of an entrance with the wooden floor, or where the floor texture changes, what I did was that I think I kind of like stretched one of these line defs around here, or these kind of lines and walls and line defs. Actually, this is not Doom. Just shows you how much I know more about Doom than I really know about Duke 3D these days, I guess. But anyways, I stretched some of these walls around and decided to draw this sector, and then I started constructing this area right here. So my phone is actually ringing right now, but I'm not going to respond to that because I got this video to do. So, but yeah, this is the projector room, and it's it draws a lot of inspiration from 1L1 and stuff. So there's a lot of things happening. And then of course we got the arcade. But I think the arcade room is one of those rooms that it probably needs some work still, because while you probably can't really see it through here, but during the game there is a pretty nasty misaligned texture here. So those are the kind of things that I need to fix before the release and stuff. So, but the arcade is pretty similar to what it was with the 3D Realms stuff. And this was actually one of the few exceptions where I was using the or assets from other levels than E1L1. So this was one of the exceptions. where I did take some liberties. But aside from that, I tried to stick very loyal to the E1L1 assets only, and also the shading was also another important part of it. So, and stuff. And here we have the movie theater back entrance. Again, a lot of resemblance to Hollywood Holocaust and stuff. And here we have this kind of an alleyway that seemingly doesn't lead anywhere, but I probably won't spoil it any further. But I guess we could go to this rooftop. And let me think, are there any other areas? I don't think there are any other areas. Oh yeah, and then there's this place too. This is the movie theater entrance and stuff. And before we go further inside, I want to highlight the meaning of these. So, police line do not cross and out of order. So that was to kind of like give the impression that, okay, you can't access the actual movie theater through this area, aside from that duct that this lit troop or... damn it, I really need to stop calling these enemies with their definition names. I mean, the assault trooper is guarding, that air duct leading over here and blah, blah, blah. So that's why these police line do not cross, markers and the out of order symbol are in place. So what that actually means is that if you're legit playing this map, and if you were like some random tourist and you were to go to see the movie, well, then you have to go through this ticket booth right here, and then you have to remove this duct, and then go through that secret projector room and go to what, then you can reach the theater and watch the film. So, so much for that realistic level design then. But seriously, there's actually another, I think there's an alternative route, kind of, here. So it's not like 100% super realistic, but pretty good, I'd say, by my standards at least. And actually, there was supposed to be an area that would connect this place to the movie theater area and these other areas around here. So there's some small little abstract places here and there, so, or the actual placement of these different areas does not necessarily make too much sense in the long run, but I would say that it's pretty good still. But given the fact that I have not made really that many levels for Duke Nukem 3D, despite the fact that I started making levels for Build Engine games 22 years ago, you can really, create levels for the game for, like, say, as long as I have, and yet you don't really fully have probably learned the ways of the game and the quirks of the engine and all that. So it's all about learning, really. My, learning process has been fairly slow with the Build Engine games, but I don't mind. This is probably one of the best maps that I've done so far, and stuff. So I don't mind. And I've enjoyed building this map, and to be honest, this is one of those maps that I don't remember ever having this much fun building a Duke Nukem 3D level. And I hope this map is kind of a springboard to the future when it comes to me and the relationship with Mapster and Build Engine games and all that. So maybe this will be the new beginning, I hope. But yeah. Let's take a look at this back alley now. And this is also a very vertical level, so expect to find things like jetpacks and stuff, and feel free to make some use of such items to make your way around this map and find secrets and stuff. But I guess we could go over here. And this is a bit of a poor man's E1L1. And there's the nuke button. It's being guarded by an angry pickup. So, and then there's the bridge leading to it. But fortunately, there's actually a jetpack placed in here, just in case if you fall down and then You have kind of a second chance, and to avoid taking any fall damage, you can use that jetpack to kind of like make your way back to the bridge or nuke button or wherever is it that you want to go. But yeah, I think that's a bit of an overview about this map and various different processes that have taken place while I was making this map. And also, one little thing that I probably should point out before I go is the fact that there's actually a light switch, something that you don't really see too often. And I kind of learned, to also add some interactivity in here, some light switches. I mean, sure, you could kind of say that they don't really add anything to the game, but I did it anyway, so because why the hell not? And of course, because E1L1 had lots of light switches and stuff, so yeah. But it was really a big pleasure to build this map, and I'm still waiting for some results from my playtesters. So yeah, there's that. But this map will soon see its release, and yeah. But it's kind of a kind of rare for me to do a video about build engine mapping. But I hope you have enjoyed this at least. So yeah, but I think that's all. So I'll be doing a playthrough of this map once it gets released and stuff. So yeah, but I hope you have enjoyed this. So thanks for the company and see you around.